There are some of aspects of that speech that actually I did not see him communicating what Nigerians want to hear. Look, we should not pretend that the Nigerians are not hungry. Nigerians are hungry. Uh, Families are strained. Some of these policies are impacting on our daily lives. People can't feed. People now are the NEPA of their homes. What I mean by that is that they switch off electricity in the morning and put it on maybe in the night. It's no longer whether there is electricity or not, because they cannot afford to pay higher tariff for fuel. Some people are withdrawing their kids from school. These are the fundamental issues that I wanted the president to speak to by saying, yes, we as Nigerians are facing problems, and together as citizens we will solve this problem, and not just begin to double speak. In one paragraph the president recognized the fact that it's the rights of Nigerians to protest, and then in another paragraph they are trying to blame them and then saying, okay, it was politically motivated. I think that, to me, gives a lot, lots to be desired. He spoke also about government ready to dialogue. Dialogue how? What is that institution of dialogue? I was expecting him to come out today with an institutional framework for citizens' government engagement that will let citizens to understand what he's doing better. And in all, I must say that speech, and as I said, I read it over and over again. I read it up to like 3 times. And I even read the newspaper's interpretation of the speech. I must say it looks like a speech that was hurriedly put together. There are so many cut and pastes in that speech. 70% of that speech is not, it's not telling us anything new. And I hope maybe as the day go by, the president's handlers will begin to explain some of the things that were not written that the president wanted to say in that speech. Maybe by that time we will understand better.
Okay, well, what's your advice to the protesters now? And of course, we've seen that the roads are deserted, the places where they were gathering have been deserted. Do you think they should just suspend the strike like the president pleaded?
Look, for me, as I said, we were not part of the organizers of the protest. We sympathize with them, and we also recognize the rights of Nigerians to protest and the right of Nigerians to ask for good governance. We're very much in alignment with the demands of the protesters. And so we will just advise them to look at what the president has said. Unfortunately, we didn't see the president speak to some of those demands that were listed. I think either the 10 or 12-point demand of the protesters. And that's, for me, it's another missed opportunity, because I think there are just some low-hanging fruits that the government can possibly speak to, rather than reeling out again most of those things that we've heard and heard over again that the government is doing. I was also expecting to begin to hear from government to say they might revise or evaluate some of those strategies that they have embarked upon, some of those policies, which seems to actually be giving more to the structures that actually led us to where we are. If you look at some of the economic policies of this government, it's basically giving more concession, tax rebates to manufacturers and the rest of them, rather than going deeply into what will affect the lives of Nigerian people. And you can even break it down and say, where are the rise? Where are that the federal government is sending down? You expect him to say something like, oh, we'll create a system now that will ensure that Nigerians directly get the palliative. We want to directly work on things that will impact on the people. And so it's left for the organizers of the protest, is their prerogative to look at the speech and decide what should be their next course of action.
Thank you.